Hey everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literary Love. I'm glad you're with me today because today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite underrated romances. I'm super excited to be talking about these books, but before we start talking about all these wonderful books that maybe you haven't heard of them, but you definitely should have, if you could really quickly really help me out. If you like this video, if you like my content, make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button. Also subscribe if you haven't already. I am making it a goal of mine to reach at least 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I really think I can do it, but I can only do that with the help of you all. So thank you so much. I post videos every Thursday and Sunday, so you can look forward to more content every week. We're gonna get right into these books. But first, I do just want to say I apologize right off the bat if the sound quality of this video is not as great as some of my regular videos as of late. My mic was having a lot of issues when I was trying to film this, and this is my only time that I can film this video, so I went back to my old mic that I had. It is not as good of a sound quality. So like I said, I apologize for that. We're just going with it. It is what it is. But now, the books. So underrated, what I am categorizing as underrated books, I am using the definition of books that have less than 1,000 reviews on Goodreads. Goodreads is usually where I look to if I'm thinking about trying out a book and I'm looking for reviews on the book first before I pick it up. I usually go to Goodreads and I look at reviews on there. You can also look on like Amazon or other like book retailers for reviews, but Goodreads is usually the place that I'm looking for reviews. So I have a list of about 8 books here. Most of these are like fantasy romance, monster romance. So, if you haven't tried out some monster romances, maybe now is a great time to start with some of these underrated books. I enjoyed all of these books, and I think you should try them out. So, first off, we have Sweet Summer Serpentine by Rose Santoriello. This one is a recent read of mine. I actually haven't even done a wrap-up on this one yet, but this one is a cozy fantasy monster romance. Our 2 characters are set together. They're supposed to work together. He is a serpentine creature. He's a bit of a grumpy character. He is a professor at this college. He works in the plants, herbology kind of area. And then our female main character of the story, she has Fae heritage. And she likes to work on potions. She works for this company that hired her right out of the gate from college because they think that she found some type of cure for cancer. This is not actually true. She was just kind of playing around, but everybody just thought that she did it. So they are paired together to see if they can just kind of recreate some sort of pharmaceutical type of thing to help to cure cancer. So they're supposed to work together, but they also kind of have the hots for each other. He ends up becoming very possessive of her and very protective of her. It was a very sweet and cozy type of book. So if you are a big fan of any type of cozy fantasy books, I think this is perfect for that. It's very light on the monster aspect of it. So I think this is a great jumping point into some good monster romance. It was very cute, very quick too. I think this is a novella. And then we have Jockstraps and Newspapers by Lizzie Strong. This is another newer romance to me that I read just this month. This one is our female main character is a reporter, or at least that's what she's wanting to be. She's wanting to get this job at a local newspaper because that's her dream job, and they are willing to hire her on a trial basis. And her trial basis is to cover the local sports ball team. She's not as happy about this because she doesn't really care about sports ball. She literally just wants to write some like hard-hitting stories, and she doesn't think sports ball is that that important. And she's supposed to be doing a piece on the captain of the team, who is this big minotaur guy. He's kind of a bit of a himbo, like cinnamon roll, golden retriever type of character, who is the captain of the team, but he is also supposed to become the coach for the team next year. This is like his last year playing, and he is convinced and wants to try, well, he wants to try to convince her how great sports are and how wonderful they can be, and show her the good side of it. He's also very attracted to her, and his attraction towards her ends up putting him into a heat. And the only way to get rid of that is to have sex with her. So they have lots of fun, sexy times in this book. There is a lot of like kinky stuff in here too. There's breeding kink in here. They also are kind of exhibitionists. They get into some situations, some of them kind of funny, but also like really awkward. And then this was just, it was such a delightful story. I loved the two characters together. They were so sweet together. I loved how much they like fell for each other. I also liked some of the family stuff that was going on. So it was just a very cute story. Then we have Love Lights by Emily Antoinette. This one is another one that I would consider like a cozy fantasy book, a cozy monster book. This one is a holiday novella, and this takes place, so like I said, holiday novella. So this is our two characters. One of our male characters, oh, this is also a male story. Forgot to say that. One of our male characters is living at his grandfather's home. His grandfather has passed away, and he is just staying there as this like remembrance of his grandfather right before, for Christmas, because grandfather loved Christmas, right before he ends up packing up all this stuff and sells his house. And so he is out one night putting up lights on the rooftop, and he ends up falling off, and he is caught by our other male character of this story, who happens to be a Mothman, catches him and rescues him, and realizes that this guy is his fated mate. And this just like, oh my gosh, this story, these two characters, both of them were total cinnamon roll characters, and I just love them. They're so cute and freaking adorable. They just gave me all the warm, fuzzy feelings just reading this story. I was smiling the whole way through reading this. It's one of those like feel good stories. If you're having a crappy day, if you just want something very light and cute and wholesome, this one is just perfect for that. I loved it. I loved it. Now we're getting into a few darker ones. So first up is Feathers from the Sky by Jess Weiscup, which I am honestly very surprised that this has less than 1,000 reviews on Goodreads, because Jess Weiscup, I feel like, is starting to gain a little bit of momentum with her Divine Between series that she has. This one is a lot darker than her other series. This is a fantasy romance series, or duet. Technically, this first book is out, so know that it does end on a cliffhanger. Jess Weiscup is apparently writing the second book right now, so hopefully, I think she hopes to get it out this year in 2025. So just know that going in, that it does end on a cliffhanger and there's going to be another book. But this one is like contemporary fantasy romance between a vampire and a vampire hunter. And so our male main character is a vampire, and he is scoping out our female main character of the story. She is descendant from a line of vampire hunters, and he thinks that she has something to do with the disappearance of his brother. And so they end up doing a stranger, like, sexy photo shoot together. and he's kind of like wooing her and trying to befriend her so that he can figure out what she actually knows, if she had anything to do with his brother's disappearance. He's wanting to try to find his brother. And a lot of things happen in this book. It's really, really good. Like I said, I am so surprised that this book does not have more reviews. There is a lot of dark topics in this story, especially like grief and depression. Our female main character is a plus size character, so I love that representation in here. And it's just, there's a lot of different twists and turns in this book. My jaw dropped at the end of this book. That cliffhanger, oh my gosh. But still recommend it. I think you all should check it out because I think Jess Weisskopf is an amazing human being and I will forever support her, and I can't wait for more books from her. I just need to know. Then I have A Dance Macabre by Naomi Loud. This is the first book of the Perverse City series. The second book just recently came out. There is going to be more books of this series, but each book is more like they run off of each other. I definitely recommend reading the first book before going into the second book. However, they focus on different couples, so they are technically like standalone, sort of. So this is another like fantasy paranormal world. Our main characters, there are these 6 different bloodlines, and they all are worshippers of the gods, and the gods are what control this city, but they are not benevolent gods. They don't give a crap about these humans, so their worshippers are tasked with speaking with the gods and making sacrifices of people to the gods. So in this first book, it is time to choose a new ruler for the city. Only one person from all 6 of the bloodlines, the houses, becomes the ruler. And so it's time for that to happen. Our 2 main characters of this story hate each other, and they are vying for this position. They want to become the leaders. They think it is their time. So one of them is chosen, and then the other one tries to sabotage them getting chosen for being a leader. And so then the gods decide that what they are going to do to somewhat punish both of them is to make them both co-rulers, and that they have to make all their decisions together. They have to live in the leader's home together, and they have to do everything together. And this sucks for them because they absolutely despise one another. But they also find that they are incredibly sexually attracted to one another. So of course this turns into a romance. It's a very, like, I would say loose romance. It's much more on the like smutty side. I kind of thought it gave me Gomez and Morticia Addams vibes, like if they were like before they were married and if they hated each other at first, but then at the point where they're just like so attracted to each other, they just have to have one another, like that point. All of the characters in this story are morally black, so there are no technically good people in this story. So again, know that before you go in. Has that whole forced proximity trope. There is also like a reverse glory hole in here, which I had never read about or really heard about before reading this one. So I thought this story was honestly one of the more unique stories that I have ever read. So I really liked it because of that. I liked the steamy scenes in this one. And I honestly just think more people should read this series because I thought it was really cool. Then we get to My Summer Girl by Maeve Black. This is the 3rd book of I don't remember what the series is called, but it's the third book of a series from Maeve Black. They're all centered around these siblings who are Cupids. This one, it is Dulce's turn, and she has seen from the prior two books, she has seen her siblings find love and fall in love, and she decides that it's her turn, and she decides to make a fuck it list of things that she's just gonna do because she just doesn't care anymore, and I'm here for it, girl. And she is having feelings. She goes to like this sex club often, and she's starting to have feelings for her dom, and she's deciding that she's going to tell her dom this in hopes that they will reciprocate her feelings. But before she can do that, she ends up getting taken by this warrior guy who was sent on a mission by his queen to find her mate, because in her realm she's like a botanical, or I don't know, type of creature, but her body and her magic is tied into the land, and because she has not found her mate and she has not gotten pregnant, her land is starting to die. So she sent him off to try to find her mate. Well, he finds her, our Dulce, our Cupid character, and thinks that she would be a great mate for his queen. However, he also realizes that Dulce is also his fated mate. So he takes her away, and they have some great fun times together. Meanwhile, her dom is like, where did my submissive go? What's happening? And he finds the queen, and they go off to try to find the other two. So it's a very complicated kind of story. This is a poly romance. There are 4 people that end up in a romance together, but I just thought it was so fun. I really enjoyed Dulce's character. I think she is just that type of, like, she is the glue that keeps all 4 of them together, and they all just kind of gravitate around her and want to like dote on her, and I think it's just so sweet. I loved her, and I can't wait for more stories from Maeve Black. There is one other sibling in this like Cupid kind of series that she has, and I can't wait to get to that one. I'm excited. I've been enjoying all of Maeve Black's books, but this one's probably like my favorite of the stories. Then we have Monster Mishap by Rory Miles. This is another monster fantasy romance. Like I said, I feel like I kind of have a theme with all of these, which in general, I feel like monster romance is pretty underrated. So there you go. This one is technically like a portal fantasy. Our female main character is just kind of like doing her own thing in her home, and she accidentally portals to this fantastical monster world and lands on top of this orc who happens to be the prince of the realm, but he just doesn't want to have the duties of being a prince. And she, with her being there, they end up having to go back to the kingdom and he wants to take over his father, who is the king, who is not a great ruler. There's a lot of different politics that are going on in the story. I enjoyed this so much. It was hilarious. It was laugh out loud. This has that grumpy sunshine trope because he's a grump, she's a sunshine. She makes friends with like everybody that she meets, and this helps her out along the way through the story. They have some great sexy times together, and I just thought that was so cute. It's a standalone. I'm really hoping that this author writes more stories in this world because I really enjoyed it, and I really want more people to read it. And then the last book that I have on this list is The Wrath of Roses by Violet Taylor. This one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but if the beast stayed monstrous. And it's so fun. I loved it. It's a little bit darker than Beauty and the Beast. like I said, the Beast stays monstrous. He has a thing for Fleur, who is our Belle character of the story, and he wants to be with her, but he is worried that his beastly form would be too much for her. So he takes both her and Gabriel, who is our Gaston character, and he makes them play out his sexual fantasies. He thinks that Gabriel, excuse me, could be kind of like his surrogate kind of person in the bedroom. And so he wants him to do what like he would like to do for, and he is going to watch them. Yeah. It's a fun time. But then with them acting out his sexual fantasies, he wonders if he actually can be with Fleur. So yeah, that happens. It's a great time, which honestly, with everything else besides all the like the super sexy times, this is one of the retellings that reminds me the most of the movie, and I quite enjoyed it. Like the whole, like the plot and everything else besides like the sexy times, I felt like was pretty similar. So I just found that so great. It was so great. I need to read more Violet Taylor because she's also a wonderful human being, and I think she's wonderful. I think this is just fabulous, and I think more people should read this. More people should read Monstery Beast, Beauty and the Beast retellings. It's so great. So I feel like I'm really blushing. But yeah, that is going to be it for this recommendation video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, and also comment down below with some romances that you think are underrated, that you think more people should read. I love hearing from you all. Otherwise, that is going to be it for this one, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.